one woman on the street, she was like, "Oh my gosh, but the Teresas bonitas," something like that. Like a lot of people complimented my hair. Like I had braids at the time. Um, I got called gordita, which is like fat in Spanish, but I'm translating it to thick because it has the ita. And I mean, it was weird hearing it, but I'm like, oh, you guys think I'm thick? Because I really don't have anything. So it just felt good to hear that. Hey YouTube, Sounder Expeditions here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video about my week in Mexico City in DF. I traveled to Mexico City by myself. I spent a week there last year, like right before COVID happened, in February, and I wanted to share my experience with you all. As a female traveler, solo black girl traveling. Yeah. So, I had been trying to go to Mexico forever, like forever, because I had heard such amazing things about it. I was really excited about the culture, the colors. I heard so many great things, and I had wanted to go specifically to Mexico City because when I would research online about best places to be or like best parts in Mexico to be in, so many travelers on the internet said Mexico City, even though Yucatan Peninsula was the most famous in terms of safety if you're going to travel alone. Merida, Tulum, Cancun, those were all safe areas. Well, the safest in Mexico that I had heard of. Pretty much everyone on the travel forums basically said that Mexico City is like the best place to go in Mexico. And then they would compare it to other places, and some people even said it was like in their top 3 cities in the world. It was just like some people said it was their favorite city in the world, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like everyone was just gassing Mexico City. I had to go and see it for myself because the travel community loved it. And they said that that's the closest I would get to like Mexican culture, being in the city, Oaxaca y otras lugares. Then anyways, I finally got there in last year, and I arrived and I stayed in a hostel. I finally just booked it last minute. It wasn't planned. I just got a job offer or internship offer. I just booked it and I just showed up. I flew in and I took a Uber straight to my hostel. I stayed at Casa Pepe in Centro Histórico. I think that's the central district. And it was a really great hostel. I spent 6 nights there. It cost $16 per night. It was all female dorm. There were a lot of Americans there, which is, in my prior experience in Asia and Europe, mostly like there'd just be a small amount of Americans and then lots of like Europeans, Australians, or just tourists from like other parts of the world. But yeah, I really liked that, and everyone was super cool. The hostel had a really nice rooftop. It was great. It was a great location, and there I met this girl from South Korea, and literally from day one we hit it off. We went to so many different places together. It was really cool. I like meeting travel partners, and that's why I like meeting other solo travel partners, so that like we could all pair up instead of when people come into groups and they just stay in their clique. But anyways, I made a list of things that I did, foods that I ate, my general experience there, and then I'll give you my overall interpretation of Mexico and what you should, just what you should do, what I recommend, and that sort of thing. Sorry, I'm going to start with the foods that I ate. So I have celiac disease, which is like autoimmune disease that's triggered every time you eat gluten. So basically, breads, like wheat and stuff, I can't eat that. But thankfully, there's lots of gluten-free places in Mexico City. But also, most of their food is naturally gluten-free, except mole. But like corn tortillas, you just verify that it's made out of, corn. Except in the north, I've heard that they use flour. But mostly in most of Mexico, they use corn tortillas. And I had a blue blue tacos, yeah, blue corn tacos that I saw on the internet, and I traveled to the cart that sold it, and it was good. It was really good. You should definitely try it. I'll put a picture somewhere. And yeah, I went to a few breakfast places that were kind of far from my hostel, like 25-minute drive. But I used Uber the whole time I was in Mexico. Like Uber is really cheap. It's like $5 a ride, $5 or $6. And yeah, I found some good places. One place I went to, my favorite place was La Pause or La Pause. And another place that I liked, well, that I went to one time for dinner was Cafe de Tabuba. And they had like live music there and stuff like that. So if you want places to go, I recommend those two places. And then the things that I did is that I went to the National Museum of Anthropology. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a lot to see, like most museums are, but I thought it was cool. I went to Bellas Artes, Palacio de Bellas Artes, and that was like super cool. It was beautiful walking up there, seeing the art inside. It was just breathtaking. You know, I love looking at paintings. And then I also went to Tilahuacan with Airbnb experiences. I forgot how much I paid, but I'll put it below. And I went on with basically a group of people. I think I was the only single person. Like most people in the group were couples. And I had a good time. I learned a lot about like obsidian. And I got to have, oh my gosh, I got to try all these like drinks, like cactus, alcohol, or tequila. Like it was like slimy tequila, but it was still cool. And just like all this stuff. I tried all these different shots. Yeah, that was fun. Finally seeing like one of the great world wonders. And I also wandered down Chinatown, and I had casada ice cream at this really nice place. I'll put the name down here. But the ice cream was the best I ever had. I was so happy walking down Chinatown because that was the first time that I had walked off the beaten path. Because before I just took an Uber everywhere. But this time I was like, you know, let me just walk around Mexico City by myself and see where I end up. And I just stayed in the areas that had a lot of crowds. And, you know, I ended up in Chinatown. Got a Thai massage nearby for like $30. And yeah, I had a good time walking down there, exploring it. There were no Chinese people. It was just all Mexicans. But I thought it was cool. And oh, and in my hostel, they have like different theme nights, and they took us all out to Lucha Libre, and that was completely worth it. Like Lucha Libre was so cool. Like just seeing people wrestle, and it was just super cool. Like you have to do Lucha Libre in your life. I also did Allende Market. I walked to Mercado Allende or something like that, or the area, and when me and the girl from South Korea, when we walked there, there were these, we met, like, right when we arrived, two guys walked up to us, and they were like, oh, so they were both, like, people from, they both grew up in the United States, but they got deported. Like, literally, one guy was from Brooklyn. He had the strongest Brooklyn accent. And when he was talking to me, he felt like at home. And I felt so bad because, like, they were just talking about how much they miss, like, being in the United States. Like, they feel like they, like, even though they can get, like, a decent job in Mexico, like, they feel like foreigners almost. Because they spent their whole lives in, one of them was even a DACA. And I think he did a crime and then he got deported. But, like, they spent their whole lives growing up in the United States. Like, one was from Chicago, one was from Brooklyn, and yeah, I felt so bad. Dang. Yeah, but they were really cool to talk to. Yeah. Oh, and then the best place that I went to, well, one of the best places I went to was a library. It's called Vasconcelos Library. That place is so nice. Like, the best library I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, never seen a library as good as that library. Like, in all the countries I've been to in the United States, like, it was just so picturesque. You have to visit there. And I also went to Condesa. I went to Roma. I just walked up and down. For those who don't know, those are the really nice neighborhoods, like, almost like Manhattan. kind of like the really like posh modern neighborhoods in Mexico City. A lot of like middle class, upper middle class or wealthy live there. And I chose not to stay there because like, I don't know, but I was only there for like 5 seconds, but it was a little bit boring. But a lot of people stay there because it's the safest part. But for more culture, or to feel more like you're a part of Mexico City, I would recommend being in the Central District. But yeah, it was cool. I got my nails done. Same price as the US. So, yeah. And, oh, I went shopping a few times. But I just went shopping at, like, regular stores, like H&M. So I only got, like, 3 extra things. And I went to also a nightclub one night with the crew. Most of my time was spent at the hostel rooftop because everyone was just so chill. Like, it's great when you get a good group of tourists. I feel like I left too soon because right when the best group came, I was leaving. Like, I only had 2 days with them. And one night we also had like the weirdest tacos. Like, they have like late night tacos near the hostel, and the tacos is like a tongue, and then eyeballs and brain and cheek, and like basically the weirdest tacos, and it's all like mixed up in this thing. Try it. What I didn't get to do, I wanted to go to Frida Kahlo. I wanted to go to Guanajuato, but I was so scared of traveling by myself alone. But the girl that I was with, if I had bought my flights already, I would have traveled with her to Guanajuato. But I'm going to have to go back to Mexico City. And then I also want to do this hot springs in the north of Mexico City. Like, in the middle north of Mexico. So yeah, there's a lot more that I missed out on that I never got to do. Like, 1 week is not enough. There's so much to do in Mexico City. Everyone was so nice. I'm going to get to the overall part now, but I had to say that part. So overall, Mexico City. Super modern. Super modern. Everyone that I met was like super cool. You're gonna meet the same type of people you meet everywhere else. Like, there's good, bad people everywhere. Most people were super friendly. A lot of people stared at me because I was black. I think I was the only black person I saw who wasn't in my hostel. Like, one woman on the street, she was like, "Oh my gosh, but the Teresas bonitas," something like that. Like, a lot of people complimented my hair. Like, I had braids at the time. I got called gordita, which is like fat in Spanish, but I'm translating it to thick because it has the ita. And I mean, it was weird hearing it, but I'm like, oh, you guys think I'm thick? Because I really don't have anything. So it just felt good to hear that. I'm just joking. But yeah, I didn't have any bad experiences. Like, everyone was super nice. Everyone was just staring at me. Yeah, looking, checking me out, whatever. It was just, everyone was super cool. And it wasn't like Asia. Like, the staring was less intense than like when I was in Indonesia and South Korea and Japan. This one was like curiosity, but like less intense. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think that it's a fascinating place. Most of the people from the United States, they think Mexico is amazing. Like, all the tourists that I met there, they're like, oh, I'm in Mexico City like every week, and like they take a flight from wherever in the United States, and they're like in Mexico like a lot of the times. Like, a lot of the people from the United States that I met there loved Mexico City, loved Mexico, have been traveling around Mexico. It's just so beautiful, so colorful, great food, great people. I want to go back. I met so many cool people there. It was really cheap buying food. Most things were pretty cheap in terms of like, maybe in the more tourist parts, the prices were inflated, but for the most part, things were super cheap, super modern. Great. I think you should definitely make the dive. I think you should definitely go to Mexico City and visit it. So if you're worried about being a solo female traveler like I was and that you're going to get kidnapped. Oh, mind you, the main people who told me, who I had read about, like, when I was afraid to come to Mexico, they were all from Mexicans. Like, it was the people from all over the world who were like, oh, Mexico City is amazing. But the Mexicans were like, no, you're going to get kidnapped, da 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 da. Which is valid, it happens, but if you stay in the right areas, you will be fine. So yeah, so good luck coming. And if you have any questions, just put it in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at SonderExped, Instagram Sonder Expeditions. Check out my blog that I haven't been posting on in a minute. And yeah, thanks for watching. You take care. Bye.